Hi everybody, Ross and my Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time we put new content on. Top team in London. We're still the top team in London. Anyway, hope everyone is safe and well. That's the main thing. Also, we'd like to thank our channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below. For those of you new to the channel, every so often every sort of couple of weeks we do a night dedicated to a West Ham player. Not necessarily, I'd say the sort of the household names, so to speak, more like the unsung heroes. People who have who've done their duty for West Ham. And so today, I think this is our fifth one. I think we've done Potsy, we've done Ludo, we've done Trevor Sinclair, we've done John Hartson. Today we're doing the man that is, as Mark Brown has just said, Morley, Trevor Morley, the man of many faces in terms of haircuts. So yeah, there's several of them across his time at West Ham. So we're going to have, as we always do, we're going to have some highlights of Morley's career, some goals. I believe Mr. Morley is watching as well. So hello, Trevor. I hope you're well. And we have some discussion as always. So myself will be joined by our good friend, my ant to my deck. It's Mr. Martin Godwin. How are you doing, Martin?
I want to be ants to your deck. Could I be ants on your deck?
Ants on my deck? No, that's a bit early for that. And it's just gone 9 o'clock. We're okay.
Sorry, yes, we're okay.
Right. Before we start, because I always get more comments about this, Martin, than anything else of these when we do these things. What match are you watching behind you? What game's on? Is it a Liverpool game?
What game is playing tonight? No, it's Sterling Arbroath against Hamilton Accies.
Yep,
it is.
Of course.
We want to see Liverpool draw or win, because then we will remain the top team in London, which we are anyway. Let's face it.
We always will be. And for these things, myself and Martin are always joined by a guest. Now, to be honest, this man, he's done us a turn, a late fitness test, and it was failed by three of our guests. We've had a right turn for this. 3 guests have failed in terms of us setting this up. But Mr. Nigel Kahn, the shed man himself, is doing us a turn. How are we, Mr. Kahn?
I think I should have called myself the last resort after that build-up. You didn't tell me there'd been 3 others.
It wasn't 3. No. It was one today. One today pulled out, but before we had others. It's just.
Well,
COVID.
If I passed the fitness test, you need to up the game, because it's been a long time since I ever passed one of them. Hey, Russ.
In it.
These days, nobody passes fitness tests. People only fail fitness tests, or they go down in the warm up. You very rarely get people actually passing fitness tests these days, because they've been tested so many times for COVID, for this, for that, and nothing's going to stop them getting on.
Yeah. Well, there we go. And
I suppose.
I suppose. You don't. How do you know? You don't get there early enough to see it, Martin. The fitness tests.
How do you know I haven't got my link to see what's going on? My live link.
Because I see these fitness tests, and I saw it. Yeah.
You were walking around the ground with the team the other day. What was that all about? I saw you walking. One of it was with the team. But you were walking around the pitch. Did I imagine that?
That wasn't me walking. No, I wasn't walking around the pitch. No. That was the team, the first team. If you mistaken me for the first team, I'll be very worried. Anyway,
you've achieved such fame now that when I look out there, I see you with the team anyway.
It was in the Bubbles the Bear outfit, wasn't it? They're still.
That might be the case, Nigel. I think he's answered the query that I
always wondered who was in Bubbles the Bear.
Well, there you go. You see, he hasn't. Yeah, I mean,
behind Nigel. What are you watching? The West Ham channel?
What I did was I put YouTube on and put some Trevor Morley videos on, and now it's just progressed onto West Ham.
That's it. You've given them a little taster there, Nigel. The fact that Billy Bonds has appeared on a video about Trevor Morley. That's something we'll come on about. I've got, incidentally, before we look at the Trevor Morley clips and such, there's always a little thing about those clips that I throw people and usually get it wrong because it's shown in the first minute.
Yep.
You've got to look out for in this little Morley clip that you're going to see in a mo before we start to yap about the great man, because he is in effect the first Trev. Trevor Sinclair is the second Trev. I'm sorry, Trevor Sinclair, but Morley precedes
Trevor Brooking.
and scored more goals than him. But then I suppose she's strictly an out-and-out striker.
Yes.
But there you are. There's something special about scoring 69 goals. You've got to organise your career quite cleverly to go out on that. Although I read someone in print said that he scored 70. I've been looking for the goal.
I have, yeah.
Have you found the other goal?
Well, it depends what goal you're not counting. But
I've full members
on good authority that he scored 70 goals in all comps in 188 games with 26 as a sub.
Yeah, a lot of yeah. We're going to talk about his substitute appearances. The most substituted, the striker who, and actually still has the record for the fastest goal. Good evening, still. For the fastest goal scored as a substitute for West Ham. That's the first question. Against which side did Trevor Morley score what is still the record for the fastest goal scored by a substitute with his first touch as sub? You've got to watch the action closely to see that goal, and you've got to get the team. Yeah.
Okay. So that's your little teaser. That's your little thing to keep us your challenge.
So
as all, I take it. It'll be on in about 10 minutes. You'll see the answer. So as always, we do Martin put together a little clips package of Trevor Morley of his career at West Ham, and then, as Martin said, then we'll discuss it afterwards. So I will make sure let's go full screen, and let's start.
When Trevor Morley came to West Ham in 1989-90, the club were in a state of disarray, having been relegated the previous season and being managed now by Lou Macari, an outsider as far as many fans were concerned. Macari was only to last a further 5 games in charge after an alleged betting scandal during his time at Swindon. Morley joined the Hammers with Ian Bishop, both signed from Manchester City by Macari, and Morley made his debut at the end of 1989 for West Ham with Bishop in a defeat at Leicester. It was to take Hammers another 18 months to gain promotion, by which time Morley had contributed 27 goals at a ratio of 1 every other game.
Only man forward is Trevor Morley. Nothing on. Oh, there is now! How about that? 7 of the season for Trevor Morley. What a goal!
Despite Morley's ungainly appearance, he continued to prove himself a reliable goalscorer in the top league, even in a relegation season in a goals per game ratio, netting 5 in 20 starts.
Keane heads across, Speedy. Morley! It's there!
Morley stepped up a grade in the 1992-93 promotion year, becoming top goalscorer for the club with 21 goals.
He's onside. There's a great chance for West Ham here, and he scores! 1-0 to West Ham.
It was the following season, 1993-94, West Ham's first in the new Premiership, when he finally won over the fans and finished top goalscorer for the second successive season, keeping the club in the top flight with his 16 goals and earning the coveted title voted for by the fans of Hammer of the Year. Here are all of those 16 goals to bring back memories of a hard-fought season battle against the threat of relegation.
And this is West Ham's first corner of the second half. Dale Gordon didn't quite get the flick on. Now needs to cross with his right foot. Oh, great header and a good goal! Morley! Mims got fingers to it but couldn't keep it out. And remarkably, West Ham lead 2-0. And who says that Roland can't use his right foot? Beautifully directed by Trevor Morley for his first goal of the season. And from West Ham's point of view, thank goodness Dale Gordon missed it, because it was perfectly placed for Trevor Morley.
Burrows with the throw. Bishop's there if needed. Ball played through to Chapman, took it well, did Chapman, that's a penalty! Brought down there by Paul McGugan. And the referee Morley had no hesitation at all, Alvin. I'm sure you're in agreement with him.
Yeah, it was a good ball in from Tony Gale. Lee Chapman has got, I think, has got a very good touch for a big man. His first touch was good. He was always going away from the play, and the player made a lunge. I think it's the correct decision. I think the replay will show that.
And Morley tucks it away. It's 1-0 to West Ham United, and just the start they wanted. Looks for Chapman. Chapman obliges. Nice square pass to Morley. The interchange, Morley's through, goal! Absolutely brilliant. And Trevor Morley gets his just rewards. His second of the night. He opened the scoring in the 5th minute. And West Ham United lead Chesterfield by 5-1. But that was a classic strike from Trevor Morley, a beautiful interchange. That was West Ham football at its best.
Chapman, that was a nice touch. Gets it back, that was great. Holmes. Morley, can he feed Marsh? He takes it inside. What a brilliant goal! What a brilliant goal from Trevor Morley. He had the option of Marsh, but my goodness, he didn't need it, did he? He took it down, he hit it right-footed, and smack, in it went. Trevor Morley's first Premier goal at Upton Park, and what a cracker and what a time to score too.
They had a lot of the ball, Chelsea, but they never really looked like hurting us. You know, they didn't really create too many chances against us. Admittedly, at 1-0, you never know. One chance and they equalised, and that's it. But they never really hurt us. But I thought we lost our way a little bit. We lost our passing, and we just lost our way a bit.
Great goal, Trevor Morley, though.
Great goal, yeah. I mean, there wasn't too many chances all day, was there, really? And that was the type of goal that maybe was going to decide it. And it was a fabulous strike. You know, he really left his foot. You thought it was going to be a goal. Great goal.
Gosh, that's not a bad-looking ball. Here's Morley. He's got away from the defence. Beautifully taken by Trevor Morley. West Ham back in this tie. A wonderful through ball from Marsh. Morley steadied himself, and an absolute executioner's finish. Trevor Morley. And Chapman. There goes Morley. It's in. It's number 2. Trevor Morley. "75 minutes on the clock, and Trevor Morley heads home."
Of more chances than you would think, and another one here for Morley. Oh, he's pulled back, and David Seaman may well have to go. Paul Durkin is going to take action here, and there's an inevitable air about the outcome. It's red card for David Seaman. Sent off with 6 minutes to go. Morley was onside. Seaman came out and then dragged Morley down after Seaman had missed the ball. Arsenal will, of course, want to get Alan Miller on. The infringement occurred outside the area just. Well, above all else, West Ham will want to get this on target. The goalkeeper has come straight from the bench. Burrows and off the line. Winterburn.
It was a little bit unfortunate, I thought, very late into the game, and it would have stole the points, I think deservedly so. I think it was a through ball from Marshy. It's close to being offside. I haven't seen the actual replay on that. But the linesman kept his flag down, and Seaman missed the ball completely, and I was through, clear on goal. And he managed to grab me around the neck, and that was it. As you know, he went off, and he denied us a definite goal and the 3 points, in my view, which is unfortunate. But you know, I think if I put myself in David's shoes, I would have done exactly the same myself, you know, and he sacrificed the sending off, but he saved the team to a point, really.
Chapman is in the middle, the obvious target. Martin Allen is in there as well, and Morley. Chapman round the back, up a chance, it's in, and Trevor Morley for West Ham United. Southampton caught by the sucker punch free kick. Chapman does what he does well, and Trevor Morley sweeps home.
I'm not sure what they try to do. Half of them come out. You see that, the back half, they ought to run out. And the lads nearest the ball, Francis Benali in particular, he's defending it. I mean, this is crazy defending. There's no real danger from a cross like that. All they have to do is defend it properly and get a challenge in at the back post. But watch, half of them are out. The front half stay in. And from then on, it's a very simple task for West Ham to take the lead.
Again, West Ham enjoying a long spell of possession around Coventry's penalty area. Marsh, shouldered over. Yes, the linesman's put the flag on his chest, and the referee has pointed at the spot. And young Peter Ungloved may be increasingly frustrated at the lack of opportunities he's had because of how tightly he's been marked by Tim Breaker, has conceded a penalty. Pushing Marsh in the back before either of them had the ball under control. Both referee and linesman in unison. Trevor Morley, who's placed the ball. An opportunity to give West Ham a lead of 3-1 with an hour played.
And a big cheer for Trevor Morley. Obviously something of a favourite with the West Ham fans, and Lee Chapman is the man who comes off. Hasn't really been his night, Lee Chapman. And Trevor Morley, who was left out of the starting lineup for the first time this season, gets a chance to prove his boss wrong. Here's Jones with the cross, and there's Morley with the goal! What about that? It's his first touch! That is the magic substitution. No wonder Billy Bonds is laughing. It's 3-3.
One probing ball, which Holmes has switched on. That's a terrible back pass from Pallister. Bruce all over the place. Here's Holmes and Morley. West Ham have turned it round with 2 in 2 minutes. Schmeichel can't believe it. It was Pallister's terrible back pass that first put Schmeichel under pressure. And then when Holmes got the ball back, he took it to the byline, and Morley put West Ham in front. It's 2-1.
Good ball through, but Chapman had got away. Morley again, he must score, he does! 1-0 to West Ham United.
Holmes. In it goes! It's there, Morley! A lovely little header as he moved into the 6-yard box. A superbly taken free kick.
And Rush and Breaker. And Scott clears, but not a good one. And it's a penalty. Really, there was little doubt in the referee Philip Dom's mind. Morley then against Ian Walker, a very important penalty. Morley scores 2-0 to West Ham, and now it's going to be hard for Tottenham to get back into it.
Mabbott, he's lost it here, Morley! And it's scored! 3-1 to West Ham, and Trevor Morley gets the goal.
Another nice touch from Morley, safely away
It's Henry. McCarthy. Tried to feed Sharp. And now here comes Morley again. Is this a chance to make it 2? Good save, Horworth. Now surely. Surely now it's 2, all right. And Morley, still Morley, this is the opening goal of the game. And West Ham take the lead. Well, Alan Miller will be very disappointed. The West Ham supporters are delirious. 12 minutes from the end of the game. And Morley on his own, once he'd rounded Miller, he couldn't miss that. And Arsenal behind.
Put forward as a regular striking option by manager Billy Bonds, who groomed him for success at the club, Morley fell out of favour when Harry Redknapp took over in August 1994, and he finally left the club to join Reading at the end of the following season. Just 3 games after joining the club from West Ham, Morley's career was threatened by an horrific head injury which resulted in a fractured skull and required the insertion of a metal plate to aid his recuperation. Morley was out for 3 months. When he returned, however, the goals soon began to flow, and he put Reading into the final 8 of the Coca-Cola Cup for the first time in their history. In 1996-97, Morley finished head and shoulders above the rest as the club's top scorer for the season. Whilst he may not have had the appeal of a Pop Robson, a Tony Cottee or a Paolo Di Canio, Trevor Morley was part of an important stage of West Ham's history, the recovery from late 80s second division predictability to a new era of top-flight success in the Premiership. The club has a lot to thank him for.
There we go.
Wow. It's saying 69 goals there. I'm challenging Nigel to come up with what that other goal was that makes it 70. I quite like him having scored 69 goals. There's something about that number, you know. It's not. I know we're past the watershed now, but I wanted to say a few things before we launch, because you know I do my little preamble once we come out of that. Did you all see which team he scored that goal against? What was the team?
Norwich.
Norwich. It was from Norwich. I noticed something quite interesting. Of all the teams he scored those Premiership, I think we used to call it in those days, or Premier goals against, only 2 goals at Upton Park in those 16 were scored by teams who are still in the Premier League. Chelsea and Manchester United. We've got Ipswich, Oldham, Norwich, Swindon were in there in the mix. But there was just a side point that I always enjoy. When we used to make the old DVDs or videos, as it would have been in the 90s, we picked up the footage from the other clubs. And what you didn't want to have to do is to fork out and pay BBC or ITV for loads of money to use their commentary. So what you ended up with was this master tape, beautiful quality game, but you'd have the commentator provided by the club, who really was whoever they got to do it on the day. And I think that's never more clearly demonstrated than by 2 of those goals. The Tottenham goal is brilliant because it's a terrible mistake by Mabbott. And somehow the commentator has completely missed that. And he's more into, it's got to be, it's here, there it is. And you think, it is, you don't need to commentate like that. And then against Arsenal, it's even better. This is the famous 2-0 against Arsenal, with Martin Allen scored one after that Morley one. But it's the most fantastic mistake by Tony Adams. It's an unbelievable error. You've got to look at it again. I know that Russ will put it on, you'll have it on YouTube, won't you?
Yeah.
Adams is just like he's strolling like he's in the park walking his dog. And Morley comes and obviously hasn't seen Morley, but no, it's not unlike the Mallet mistake. And the commentator goes, "Oh, it's Morley now." And Morley rounds Alan Miller and puts it in. And he goes, "Well, he can't miss those." Well, he can't miss it because he's put himself in the position to miss it. But that often happens with commentators who say it was a straightforward, easy goal, missing the fact that the player was in the position to do it. It's brilliant by Morley, that goal against Arsenal. And then he says, Alan Miller will be really disappointed about that. And I even remember at the time thinking he was then going to go, because he couldn't have imagined that Tony Adams would make such crap shit mistake. But he didn't. No mention of Adams at all. Now, I suggest you get that little clip, all of you out there, of Adams making that mistake against Morley and set it on repeat. Because then if you get up in the morning and watch Adams make that mistake 4 or 5 times, you're ready for the day. There you are. Out you go. So a quick summary of how Morley got to West Ham, which is a very interesting story. Something I hit on, which I thought was quite interesting. Did you ever know a season where West Ham had 4 players whose surnames were Mac? You're destined to get relegated, aren't you? If you start a season with 4 Macs, no disrespect, 4 Macs: Tom McAllister, Frank McAvenny, Alan McKnight, and Tom McQueen. Only 2 substitute appearances that season, but that no.
2 of them were keepers, though. You couldn't play both of them in a game.
No, that's true. That's true.
You'd be a bit harsh on the Macs.
Hang on. Who would have thought that Dean Saunders and Steve Bywater would have played in the same game? But they did against Bradford. Just thought I'd throw that in. So 2 goalkeepers can play in the same game. It does happen. Didn't we just have one ourselves? Didn't I see Nathan Trott come on as a substitute? No disrespect. I've done it.
Yeah, but back in those days, we still only had one substitute. So it would be highly unlikely that Tom McAllister would have been sitting on the bench while Alan McKnight would have been sitting there. And you're right about the commentators. I always thought our one weren't much up any either.
Yeah, he's done
in there. He's done in there. Oh, you're talking about Colin Benston. That's unfair. Colin,
Just want to say hi, hello, Ian for you. Hi, Ian's on today. Obviously,
Ian's on. There we are. There's a great goalkeeper. One of the tallest men I ever saw at West Ham. Very tall man. And was he the one who taught Di Canio how to do that trick?
He was.
I do listen to what you say, Russ.
Taught him everything he knew. You carry on, Mark. Go on.
All I wanted to say before we throw ourselves into this was the City team that Morley and Bishop played for. And Morley scored 13 goals in 46 appearances for City, getting them up in the season we went down, 88-89. So 89-90, here he is thinking, I'm the number one here at City. And in an early game, Morley and Bishop score in a 5-1 routing of Manchester United. City fans still talk about that game. Morley and Bishop they would probably say that was their best game. Bish was everywhere, and Morley was. How he didn't get a hat trick, I don't know. I've actually got that full game on a vid somewhere that I procured a long time ago. All 90 minutes, except the first 5 when there was a delay due to a cameraman falling off the stand or something. I don't know what it was, something like that. Anyway, suddenly in the middle of the season, Machin, or Machin, I should say, who'd got them up. This is a bit like Ranieri, isn't it? We won the fucking Joe Show. You can fuck off now. We'll get someone good. Hang on a minute. You won that. He got them up. So he got them up with Chelsea that season. And so they sacked him and they bring Howard Kendall in. Howard Kendall takes one look at Morley and Bishop. Nah, don't want them. So it was Kendall and Macari, I can't put those two in the same room very easily, can you? But obviously them or their people who did the deal, and Mark Ward went to City, and Bish and Morley, who'd got City up and were playing brilliantly, Morley particularly, suddenly, you know, you think, what's that about? Why would you get rid of them? I don't know. There's obviously, you'd have to be a City fan to tell us what that was about. But all I can say is, fabulous. We'd have never had Ian Bishop. We wouldn't have had Morley. And Macari, in this tiny little... He also signed McCluskey, didn't he? Macari, these three amazing signings for a bloke who was hardly there just to turn his bike round, and then he buggered off, left us with this... You know, you think how important McCluskey and Morley and Bishop were. That's
Martin Allen.
Martin Allen, yes, good one.
Yeah.
And then off he goes to sort out his alleged... see, I'm still saying alleged in that thing about Macari, even though they were supposedly found guilty. I'm still saying supposedly. Also, people in that City side that I was quite interested to see: Peter Reid, Justin Fashanu, who was in that City side, Jerry Taggart, Adrian Heath, obviously Wardy went there, Colin Hendry, Andy Hinchcliffe. There's some pretty, not some too shabby names.
He scored a worldie in that Man United game, Andy Hinchcliffe.
Oh, that game, you have to see it. If you've
seen it, yeah.
Oh, have you seen it? Oh, you can watch that game again and again, because City were, and then City and United finish. You see them at 1 and 2 in the league now. City were 13th and United were 14th. That's what I call a proper top division season, when the two Manchester teams finish right down the league, like they're going to this year after a fall of form, a spectacular fall of form for Man City. You can see how that, to get them in the second half. But I'll say one more thing. We're going to talk about so many things about him tonight, because Morley is a total legend. The thing I found most interesting, and Trev, send us an email if you could explain this to us, because Trev's in Norway at the moment, and Russ has explained to me that this internet thing actually doesn't just work in the UK, but you can get it in other countries as well. I didn't know anything about that. So apparently that's why Trevor Morley will be watching this. Hi, Trev. But Trevor Morley played for a club called Brann on loan, in 92, 93 and 95. And I thought, well, that's quite interesting. Then I look and see that he scored 9 goals for them in 21 games. That's pretty impressive. And yet somehow I don't remember him going out on loan for West Ham. And then reading a little bit further, it appears that he played for them in their season, which is a different time to ours.
In the summer.
Yeah, so that's not, but it is on loans, really. But I don't know. I imagine that Billy Bonds must have thought, well, we're keeping sharp. We come back, we do our pre-season training. He'll come here. He's already played 3 or 4 games, and he's probably scored 3 or 4 goals. His career totals, 154 goals in 459 appearances. That's more than 1 every 3rd game. And that is not a shabby stat. For anyone who doubts Morley, or you youngsters are probably thinking, who is this guy they're talking about? A total. There we are. He was a big success for Brann. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah. And also, he also plays for. Good luck with that one. Yeah,
go on.
Last team.
Go on. Yeah, go on. What was that?
Sogndal.
In Norway. Thank you, Gavin.
Something like that. That was his last team he played for. But fantastic. And his career at Reading, metal plates and all that. We'll talk about that. Anyway, Nigel's been so polite. He must think, what the hell are they getting me on here for? That bloke just sits at the top chatting all the time. I don't get a word in. Nigel, the first time you noticed Trevor Morley, you actually noticed him.
You ready?
I'm ready.
He was playing for Northampton Town.
Turn your finger. I can hear you again.
What?
Can you hear Martin twice?
I'm getting feedback.
Does that mean, am I doubling?
Yeah.
So if I turn it down a bit, is that better?
Hello?
I'm down a little bit quieter. Is that good? Or have I gone?
Okay.
Is that better now, yeah?
Just you carry on, Nigel. Go on, carry on.
He played as an avid reader of Shoot and Match Weekly in the 1980s as a kid. Morley was playing for Northampton Town. I think he was in a partnership with a bloke called Colin Hill. Northampton ran away with the old Division 4 league title for Northampton. and they were featured a few times in the magazines. Their manager at the time was Graham Carr, who happens to be the father of Alan Carr, the comedian.
Yeah.
From that, the story goes he was supposed to join Watford, but Harry Bassett got sacked the day he was going to be signed.
No.
So apparently he managed to get the move. I don't know if Northampton needed the money, or he's got the move into Man City, who were the division above in old Division 2, as it would have been back then. As you say, he did well enough at City. I'm not sure how much of a regular he was, but he was well liked with the fans. I don't know if it was off the back of that 5-1, because that's all Man City had to dine out on for a good number of years in games that between the two Manchester teams. And so I suppose the fact that they've changed manager, Mil Matching, as you said, was off. And then they're bringing Howard Kendall. Howard Kendall jettisoned Bishop, I believe, at Everton. So there was a bit of history there.
Nice.
I'm not sure.
And then found you facing him again as a Man City manager.
Yes. So then I think Bishop probably knew the time was up. I mean, you got to say it was a masterstroke by Lou to get them in. We'd had a good sort of steady start to the season, but we tailed away in the November, even though obviously we had the League Cup run that year as well, where we got to the semis again before Oldham. But bringing in, he brought in McCloskey after, so he brought Bishop and Morley in first, I believe, or Martin Allen. Martin Allen fell out with QPR, if I'm right, over going to visit the birth of his kid. I think Trevor Francis may have been the manager of QPR back then.
I can't imagine anyone falling out with Trevor Francis.
I know.
Everybody.
So their loss was our gain. And it is strange that I've spoke to Lou Macari about this in the past, that his legacy, he was often perceived as being one of the worst managers that we had, and I think that's harsh on him. I don't think the football was bad as what it was. I think following John Lyle was going to be a problem for anyone, realistically, and coming in as an outsider, as such, that where previously Lyle would obviously had his connections with the club, as had every manager apart from Ron Greenwood. It was sort of with a break with tradition there, and he'd left us these 5 players. And I mean, if you look at it, Jimmy Quinn I always enjoyed, and Trevor came in, got a few goals that first season. I think he got about 8 or 10 goals that first season.
10 goals in the first season.
When he only joined in December, wasn't it? So that it was a good return. It was a good return and set us up.
18 starts, 10 goals in 18
Yeah,
starts.
so that's pretty.
That's
I know it was
that is one every other goal.
Yeah,
one every other game. Sorry.
Let's hope Lingard can do that.
Well,
listen. No one's going to question Moyes at the moment. The guy's stock is up here.
He is.
So
Karen,
if he wants to
Nigel.
bring Lingard, it's going to turn out to be the signing.
Not a problem.
He was good at Man United once, wasn't he?
Anyway, let's talk about Trevor Morley. Sorry, I was just sorry.
Good at Man United. Then when he went to West Ham, oh my God, he was 29. You thought, oh, maybe won't get another season out of him. And then he had those 3 amazing seasons when West Ham won the league that year, and he was so important. Do you remember?
We'll do that in a few years' time. I'll book you in for that one as well, Nigel, in a few years' time. Carry on, Nigel. Go on.
I mean, Morley. If you look, I think he was 28 when he joined us. So he wasn't a spring chicken. I don't know. I must admit, I don't know where he did his youth. I know he was a Nottingham boy and a Nottingham Forest fan.
Was it Corby Town before Northampton?
Yeah, possibly. Obviously, Corby being in Northamptonshire, so and local to there, perhaps that's where they picked him up from non-league. I don't know if he did youth career as a professional, whatever. But as I say, I do remember him from Northampton Town, and obviously us signing in. He's. I don't know if he's whether because he came in with Bishop, where the fans seemed to, and Bish lasted longer. More of a creative player. But if you look at the goals that he scored, heads, tappings, long range, penalties, You know, Julian Dix was at the team at the time, and there he is. I think it was while Dixie was out, to be fair, with his first knee injury. So, but I don't remember him missing a penalty.
No, I don't think he did. But he only took a few, like you say, quite correctly.
I feel a bit for him because it's weird. Some of the when you look at the goals that he scored in some of those games, obviously that was in the '93, our first season up, where he won Hammer of the Year. He got 2 against Tottenham, but we all remember the Steve Jones goals.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
madly, that was my first time at Tottenham in the West Ham end, because as a kid I used to always go Tottenham with my best mate who was a Tottenham fan. So I used to be always either on the shelf or down in the members end watching West Ham get beat in the 80s. So from
when Crossy got 4.
Well, I was only 11, so I weren't there that night. So I started going. My first,
David, listening, Psycho legend.
Yeah, I mean, my first Tottenham away game was 4-0 on Boxing Day, defeat. And a fan actually walked up to me. Clive Allen scored the first goal, and a fan actually walked up to me and asked me who was scored. Obviously, I was in the Tottenham end, and I replied, "Oh, that wanker Clive Allen." And the bloke's face was a picture, and my mate just looked at me and went, "One day you'll get a clump, you know that." But I mean, back to Morley, as I said, I did get a clump once at Tottenham, but that was at another game when Paul Wilton scored, funny enough. So look at the Arsenal game that he scored of. As you say, you highlight the mistake that Adams made. That was at the end of the season. I think might have been last game of the season. But
right at the end.
Actually, the Martin Allen goal that game, which I think he took the ball, run forward and curled it into the top corner, is the one that's always played. So perhaps Trevor does get missed out a bit. He had the unfortunate injury in 91. He missed the games leading up to the semi-final, and even though he played in the semi-final against Forest, I don't think he was match sharp. He'd been out for about 4 or 5 weeks then.
But he scored in his second game back in a 1-0 away win at Ipswich, which I was thinking that not just to get a goal, but to get the only goal of the game. And he often did that. And that's another thing, like the thing when Bonds does that interview with him and says if there was going to be any goal, it was going to have to be a special goal. And I mean, I deliberately picked that interview with Bonds because I thought about it and I thought Morley really is the Bonds time as manager at West Ham, because he was all of it, wasn't he? He was. He started with Harry Redknapp. I've been looking also at the seasons, at the Billy's last season and Harry's first season. I put it down here somewhere. Where is it? There's some very interesting where they are neck and neck. Virtually use the same number of players. They get the same number of points. Bonds finished 13th. Redknapp finished 14th. And I mean, what's quite interesting are the players that replaced Morley. That's another. That's also.
Well, that's what I was going to go on to next. Right. If you look when Morley came in, we probably didn't replace him until we brought in Kitson.
Well, let me tell you, because I've looked at this. These are the players who scored the goals in that last season of Morley's where he didn't score at all. Yeah. And he obviously didn't get on with Harry because a guy
only played 10 games.
Yeah, a guy doesn't score that many goals and suddenly stops scoring goals. That doesn't happen. The guy is an interesting one. Trev's dad played for Notts Forest.
That's correct.
Because I know that Morley's dad was really disappointed when he supposedly didn't make it in football, and that was when he ended up at Corby Town. They thought he'd failed and he wasn't going to follow in his dad's footsteps, but he proved them all wrong, being in that Northampton side that won the league by 9 points. So, and you're right, he was an absolute legend there. But here are the guys who scored the goals after or in that season, that first Harry Redknapp season. Quite interesting. Jerome Bora, do you remember him? He scored 6 goals that season. Julian Dix got 5. Don Hutchison, new signing, got 11. But who scored the most? Who was the top scorer that season? Come on, guys. A returnee, big clue.
TC?
Go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tony Cottee, who most seasons, no matter what West Ham team he was playing in, was the top scorer, and he didn't disappoint. I think Harry Redknapp, who'd got Dixie back and also got got TC there, scoring 15 goals. That's a lot of goals. That's, what is that, 20, that's 37. And of course, John Moncur, how could we forget him? He scored 3. So you can see Redknapp is immediately shaping a very different side to Bonds' side. But it was a bit all over the place that first season. And indeed, as you all know, Redknapp flirted with relegation for about 3 or 4 seasons before he finally got it right. When he stopped getting foreigners are in on a money trip and actually started to think about who he was signing. And then, of course, he did wonderfully well. Have you got a personal favourite memory of Morley, Nigel, from your own, as a fan watching him?
I mean, the Tottenham away game where we won 4-1, it was a bit unexpected. I must admit, I didn't expect to win. And to be there that day, in with the West, as I said, it was my first time in with the West Ham fans, and I got to see us win for the first time. I think I'd done 5 games in the previous years where we'd lost. So that would be it for me, the standout. I think that season where we came back up, we didn't know how we was going to be. We had Clive Allen came in as well. And, Clive was probably the more well-known striker. If you're going to look at the 2 of them, obviously, probably roughly about the same age as well, when you think about it. But Clive's career had been totally different, and Trevor outscored him.
Yeah.
So, I think that showed the mark and the quality of the players as well. As I say, if you highlight, he wasn't just a fox in the box. As such, you see the goals there he got. He could hit them from 25 yards from the edge of the box, put them in the top corner, as well as get in with it. He was very brave player. If you look at some of the situations he puts his head in.
Injuries, that always tells you how brave a player is.
Yeah. I mean, just to say what I was going back. If you think back to that Man United game that he scored in, is he known? What's that game known for?
For us being 2-0 down and it being all over.
No, that I believe was Paul Ince's first game back at West Ham. Morley puts us 2-1 up. Ince scores right at the end to make it 2-2. When we talk about that game, we don't talk about Trevor Morley's great header to put us 2-1 up. No, we talk about Paul Ince's return and the warm welcome and the great reception he got.
That only one thing beats that was Frank Lampard getting sent off at Upton Park. And even though the red was rescinded, I remember I've never heard cheers so loud at Upton Park. It's a bit unsporting of me to say that in the same week that he's got sacked by Chelsea. The complete coincidence that I draw upon that point. But Nigel, can you give us your thoughts on that? I'm not even going to try and describe it in my own words. That challenge by Seaman on Morley that we featured there.
Well, I mean, as a goalkeeper myself, I've possibly pulled a few of those off. But you have to do what you can, innit? As we're told. I mean, it was Seaman at the time was obviously the England goalkeeper. Yeah. Very embarrassing situation.
Like that.
The fact that the referee gave nothing. I believe Ludo got sent off for a challenge like that against Newcastle.
No, Durkin sent him off. Durkin did send him off.
Yeah.
After about 20 minutes, I'm in an R-ing and
so it's a professional foul, isn't it? So
he should have been sent off twice. He should have been sent off and banned for the rest of the season because that was a goal. I mean, it wasn't like, he had a chance there. You pulled him over. He was the last man. It was a goal. It was an open goal. He'd just gone past him. He had just...
Goalkeepers Union, isn't it?
Goalkeepers Union.
You can, if you can defend that, Nigel, I've got to take a step back. I found swear words I didn't even know I had in my vocabulary when I was watching that. And it was live on Sky. It was a Monday night live game. And I just remember the fans were braying. And then...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you take...
Morley says he would have done the same.
Yeah, well, that's because they're professional. That's what I'm saying. It's a challenge when you're a keeper and you've done that. What do? Give up the goal. Remember, he wasn't in the penalty box. So while Seaman probably knew he was going to get sent off, or the chances are, he was probably understood he was going to stop a goal.
Yeah.
There you go. Ken Hammers, as he said, Ludo did exactly the same type of challenge.
Love some photographs of that. And actually, that was the only game McCloskey missed that season.
Yeah.
For his one. I mean, that's a real cruel one. And bear in mind, we're talking about one of the most ever-present West Ham players in his time at West Ham, McCloskey, who missed so few games. I don't know if players, you need to ask them. We could never ask Ludo because he couldn't speak English until he came back to the club later. But I always wanted to ask him, is it important to you to play every game? Obviously it is, but there are some people like Tim Breaker, who's got every single video, every report on every game, and could tell you every minute he came on, when he was a sub, his encyclopedic knowledge. And the only one who even takes him close is Tony Cottee, who can describe any of those 146 goals. You stop and you go, Tone, second goal in the hat-trick against away to Coventry, chest down, hit it right foot. And you think, yeah, you're lying. And you go back to the tape. Fuck, it's exactly as he described it. How do you...
but you're like that, Martin.
I know.
I can do that with all the goals that I scored.
Yeah, I can do it with every goal I scored as well.
I scored 2. Well, one was a 3-yard volley where I managed to recreate the Frank Lampard run round the corner flag.
You know what? Do you know I did that at school. I did that a little bit sort of later on in life, but I scored at school and I think it was in goal and they put me up front for some reason and I scored and I went to the corner flag and did the Roger Miller.
That's all right, yeah. Well, it was funny. They'd brought me out a goal because we were winning the game 7-1. And they'd brought me out a goal and put me up front because I was begging. Like every probably goalkeeper, I was a frustrated centre forward. Well, I was a frustrated centre forward, but the only place I was any good was not on the pitch, but behind the sticks.
Oh, brilliant.
But my goal that I remember, I was absolutely useless at football. I had 2 left feet and I was right-footed. It was never going to work. But there was one game we were playing. We used to play. We were next to Hammersmith Hospital. It was Hammersmith Hospital, Wormwood Scrubs, and my school at the end of the road. And the teachers.
I know your school. Then I was working there last year. Hammersmith Hospital. So right. I know in Acton. Yeah.
They used to, Duquesne Road. They used to say, the teachers used to say, if you don't do things well, you'll end up in Hammersmith Hospital or down at the Scrubs, whereas we wanted to go somewhere else. But we used to, it was Hammersmith Hospital next to us. And I remember you were always looking up at, if you weren't any good at football, which I wasn't, looking up and the ball was played to me. So I go, hey! And the ball was coming across and I just caught it last minute. So I threw myself at it, fell over, hit it with the outside of my left foot that I had 2 of. And I caught the edge of it and it curled right into the corner. And the teacher said, Godliman, what a marvellous banana shot. Didn't know what a banana shot was. That's what he said. And he was, of course, he was taking the mick. Mr. Udall was our teacher. What great names they had, teachers in those days. But yes, so
we had a Master Bates.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, I remember the other characters from that fabulous BBC series, which we won't mention. How important were the players who made goals for Trevor Morley? And I'm mentioning the assist kings for Morley, looking at the stats, were Matty Holmes, Mike Marsh, and Lee Chapman made a lot of goals for Trev. Any thoughts on those 3, Nige? Holmes, Marsh, and Chapman?
Loads of thoughts. I mean, Matty Holmes was he from Bournemouth? I believe.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
We signed him from Bournemouth. Great little winger.
Yeah.
Obviously, his ears didn't hold him back.
No.
But he
there we go.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I try not to laugh. But you got to laugh.
Woodies, that's all I can say.
Yeah. Mike Marsh I thought, was a great skillful player through the middle. And this is the thing when you say about Harry, the last season of Bonds and the first season of Harry, when you look at it, that Chapman, Marsh, and we brought Burrows in, were signings probably done by Harry, not by Billy. That was probably what sowed the seeds to whatever happened between the club, Bonds, and Harry. That they've had a look at that getting Julian off to Liverpool and bringing in those three. Bearing in mind, I think Chapman had already turned us down in the summer and gone to Portsmouth. But Portsmouth, I think, was struggling though, so we managed to convince him. And it was an old-fashioned big and little, isn't it? I suppose you go back to Psycho and Paul Goddard.
Yeah.
Or when we signed Cross, we still had Pop Robson. Then we had Stuart Pearson. So we seem to go back to. I mean, I'm not old enough to remember, but I think you could probably go back to Jeff Hurst and Budgie Byrne. Budgie being the more
when Greenwood made Hurst from a wing half to strike.
Yes, put him up front. The support play. If you go back to Cross and the goals that he made with the knockdowns, and that's where Lee Chapman come in. I mean, he wasn't well loved, was he, Lee? Bless him.
No.
I would like. I mean, I know we don't have time, but I really would like to look at Chapman's career at West Ham. Did you see how thrilled he was when he's going, yes. I don't know if he'd had a bet on Morley to score in the last 10 minutes and he got an accumulator or something. But I've never seen someone who didn't actually score a goal be so excited about it. He's sort of going, yes, yes. He's head down, almost praying.
Of course, the one player you didn't mention though, which surprised me because I was going to bring it up, was that it was almost as if Bishop and Morley came as a duo, not just because they came from Man City, but
I'm just expecting that. To
I was expecting a Bishop to be up there really, but
he didn't actually. He didn't make many goals for Morley, but he made lots of goals for other people. That's just how it was. I mean,
but when you think back to that time, my best mate at the time had hair like Bish, and I had hair a bit like Morley.
Which one? There are five.
Well, sort of. I had the centre part in with the curtains. It was all very fashionable at the time.
What was it?
Well, it was sort of a
bottom
bit
right.
Bottom left. Well, it was sort of probably top left, and then it morphed into bottom left.
Yeah,
top left. He looks like Peter Sarsted. Where do you go to, my lovely?
Yes, I'll bow down to your older knowledge there, Mark, on that one. But it was just almost like came as a pair. So I don't know. So when you think back to that era, you always go, "Oh yeah, Bishop and Morley." It was they were like a double act. So the fact that it was Matty Owens and Mike Marsh that did a lot of the creating from midfield for him.
Bish scored some amazing goals. I mean, Bish is definitely one for the future. I think, Russ, we got to get Bish in there.
Yeah, he'll come on, Bish. Yeah.
But I mean, part of the theme of our series, not obviously all the time, but is to look at great players. And this is a guy who could have won Hammer of the Year for the season before for a promotion.
Yeah.
But remember, he had two. He promoted twice with West Ham, but the 1991 he scored 21 goals. Anyone scored? We were saying it the other day. You score more than 20 goals in any division. That's proper footballer. That is.
Yeah, it's not often. As you said, like we were struggling before him. He came in. Was that about the time I think we still had David Kelly? I think Kelly was offloaded later towards the season, off to Leicester on loan. Where strangely enough, he managed to score quite a few goals for Leicester, which he never managed for us. So, we lost Cotty 88, brought in Kelly, didn't work. Morley was probably the goal scorer from 89. Well, Jimmy Quinn, but that's a bit harsh actually. Jimmy Quinn did weigh in with some goals that first season. They both joined us. It's possible Jimmy Quinn scored more goals than Morley when he first came in 89, 90.
That you deserve that to be checked. I'll just give you a quick check for you. Our top scorer, Alan got 11, Julian Dix 13, Morley 10, Keane 11, Quinn 13.
There you go. So
we got equal top scorer with Julian Dix.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. Quinn outscored him.
And we didn't go up that season.
No, but we had the hangover, didn't we, from the Macari fallout, everything else that happened on we'd sort of had a good start. The way I remember it is that we had a good start. We were challenging in the top, and then round about the late October, November time, even though I think that's when we had the 7-1 win over Hull for Stevie Potts fans, we sort of fell apart going towards, and that's what put the pressure on. I think Macari, is that we weren't playing well. We were doing well in the League Cup. That was the Wimbledon game. We won 1-0.
Only missed the playoffs by 2 points to Sunderland, who ended up going up because of that. Still, Macari, I mean, talk about something you did earlier in your life keeps repeating. It repeated on us, and then it repeated on Swindon, who had got promoted for the game at Wembley. I saw that game.
Was that the year we beat Sunderland 5-0 though, with Eamon Dolan and Stuart
might have been the following season. I think that was 1991. I may be wrong, but I think that was 1991. One of Brian Moore's last commentary games.
Yeah, so he came in, and when you look at his top flight goals, because he don't seem to have spent a lot of time in the top flight. When you look at it, he was lower league, Northampton. He had 6 months with Man City, had to come back down with us, spent a year and a half with us. We then go up. Obviously, the year we go up is the bond scheme. So there was the self-combustion again, where we've gone up. One of only 3 teams to be relegated from Division 1 to Division 1.
Yes, that's brilliantly put. Can I just make a point about
quizzes there? If you can guess the other 2 teams, good luck to you. But I know one of them.
He scored only 5 goals in that season, but he had 30 appearances, and it also remains the most substituted player for quite a long time. I don't know if anyone's overtaken him since, but 24 league appearances, 11 as substitute. So clearly it wasn't quite coming back. It was these were turbulent times. That was my first season working at West Ham, and I remember some of
it was a bad, let's face it, it was a bad season on and off the field.
Yes.
Great win over Man United, that Kenny Brown goal, though.
Well, yeah, there's always the one game, isn't there?
Ferguson's
there you go, Kenny. There's your shout out. You're probably watching anyway, Kenny.
Ferguson described that goal. He said it was.
What he said was, I know what you was going to say. You're going to use the word obscene, and I think what you'll find Ferguson said was the effort that West Ham put in.
Obscene effort.
Was obscene, and I get what he's saying there, because basically that's the season that we're going down. Man United were challenging Leeds for the title. Man United hadn't really been challenging before. It looked like they were going to win the league, but they come up against us. We were virtually dead and buried already. We were going down. And yet we put in a performance where we weren't really outplayed. We matched them across the pitch in play, in effort.
We did. That was not.
Kenny Brown shinned a goal in, and
we are Notts County and Luton Town are the other 2 teams. Who left the first division for the first division.
Yes. Well, I knew it was Notts County. I didn't know it was Luton. So, because Notts County had came up with us, Neil Warnock was their manager the season before.
Journeyman manager.
Yes.
Colin.
Sworn at more players than any other manager in football history.
He actually praised us after the semi-final. He was in the TV studio when we lost to Forest at Villa Park, and he actually praised the West Ham fans about how good we were.
Billy Bones Club Army, Billy Bones Club Army, Billy Bones Club Army. Kept it going for how long?
I believe it was around 25 to 30 minutes.
Losing 4-0, and the fans are going, Billy Bones Club Army, Billy Bones Club Army.
It got louder when Gary Charles scored the fourth. That was the one thing, which was I went to school with Gary Charles, and to see him score, it was the fourth goal. Good luck to him.
It wasn't the other way at that point.
Yes,
I don't think Tony Gale thought much of it.
No.
That is the one thing, Tony Gale, what a great. Sky never used his talent as a comic, as timing. If you've ever seen one of those evenings they do,
I've been to loads of them.
He's so funny, and you think, how is Sky not using that? But there is one subject you get him on that he will not crack a joke, and he will go stone.
Yeah, that's
talk to him about that game, and he's like, "Fuck you."
I've actually interviewed Keith Hackett over it.
Go on then, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Come on, you can't give us that.
Keith, basically, he throws it down that it was all to do with the rule change that had been put out the weekend before. And what Keith said was apparently that if the game had been played on the Saturday, then the directive hadn't been sent out. The directive was sent out on the Saturday night about sending players off if a professional foul was committed outside the box while the player is the last player running down on goal. Which is possible true. It could be true. Keith said he felt obliged to do it because the directive had come out. They had people, obviously assessors in there. He felt he would get a mark down. But what Keith fails to acknowledge is the fact that Crosby, who was brought down, was running not on the goal. The ball was going over to the corner flag. And actually, I don't think it was a deliberate foul either, because if you watch Crosby's run, he cuts in front of Tony Gale. So it was an accidental clash of legs that brought him down. So it was never deliberate. The ball was running out towards, more towards the corner flag than going to the goal. Crosby, I'm not sure, had full control of the ball either. No, that's not it.
That had to be really freaky.
Yeah, I know.
It just come just to that point.
Yeah, no, that's Crystal Palace.
On that video, it won't. But the thing that the thing stuck in the craw for me is the Jared Bowen goal at Stamford Bridge. The goal that would have been a goal if the effing ref hadn't blown his whistle. This is all about rules changing every week. And then Chelsea have gone on to beat us 3-0. That's the only game they've won or will win until the rest of the season. The Paris Saint-Germain guys, how successful he's going to be, even though he's been in for that job 7 months before Lampard realised he was going to be sacked. Why do we, as a team, always get collared by that change of rule? That goal, the Bowen goal I'm talking about, don't you? Basically, it was alleged to... There was an issue of the referee blew for the foul that actually wasn't. If he'd let the ball run on, the VAR would have shown that it was a goal. But because he blew the whistle, he had to stop. Look at the Man City game the other night.
And I think because he blew the whistle, VAR couldn't look at it.
Look at it. It's like but that was okay for City when the linesman puts the flag up and all the West Brom players stop. The Man City player scores. But because the ref hasn't blown the whistle, they go to VAR. He's not offside. It's a goal. City beating West Brom 2-0. Now, I know they probably would have thrashed them 5-0 anyway. But I was thinking for Sam Allardyce, he's got a point to be upset about that because it's fine. You're not going to count it if the linesman puts the flag up, which they're not supposed to, mind you. But if the ref blows the whistle, it can't be a goal because he stopped the play. I mean, doesn't a flag stop the play? Please, I know this has got nothing to do. But it's to do with things.
Nigel, this is basically like if we're like on a match day. It's like me. This is basically what I get on the walkie-talkie from Martin. But he's lifted the flag. It's like, yeah, okay, all right. Just announce the goal.
I just want it to be. I want football to be a game where, being a long-suffering West Ham supporter, I mean, it's like they used to say, "Who's this team? West Ham 0." I hated that joke. But then it's like long-suffering West Ham supporter. You can't have West Ham supporter without long-suffering in front of it. These things that kind of sellotaped to it. So, well,
what you have to do with things like that, Martin, is that you have to take them and take ownership of them and actually use it as a joke against yourself. We are long-suffering West Ham fans. Frankly, being a miserable paid-up member of the miserable Git Club, I quite enjoy it. I wouldn't. There's a part of me that doesn't want West Ham to win the league because I'd think, I quite prefer. People often accuse me of this. I quite prefer us being crappy old West Ham.
Don't celebrate second. Don't celebrate.
No,
second.
I don't celebrate.
Write that down on my
I write for West Ham Till I Die website. I wrote an article today where I alluded to the fact that if you said to me, win the league title or win the FA Cup, every day I pick the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to win. We've already had one of those days. We had the day against Blackpool with sand, didn't we? That was a day at Wembley.
Yeah, but that was a poor day. And this is the thing. I'm sorry, Martin. I will argue this. That was a poor game of football from West Ham. We were lucky to beat Blackpool. They outplayed us. We got a lucky break with the winning goal from Baz.
To do so many things for us since.
And the fact that it was won under that man, for me, should be expunged from records. And we just I failed to recognise anything that meant.
Paul Ince's son in the opposition. What was it not to enjoy about that game? Come on.
Yeah, no.
I think everyone would take the FA Cup over the league, wouldn't they?
There we are.
You'd be surprised. I think you'll be surprised.
We have had two games this season. We've got to get back to Trev because we're going to come into the big judgment in a moment. 2 games so far this season that's shown me that this is a special season. One is the Aston Villa game, the home game. And if you've got the 90 minutes of that, play that game again and tell me how we even got a point out of that game, let alone won it. And the Fulham one, okay, the guy fluffed the pen at the end, which was fantastic. But that was another game that we kind of got more out of. So apart from the Manchester United game with the VAR doesn't look down the line, you wait till what's going to happen on Sunday. You've seen Liverpool, sorry for those of you who've been trying to avoid the match of the day score, turn away now because Liverpool have just spanked Tottenham 3-1, which means we are still the top team in London. But you wait till you see what's going to happen on Sunday. You think being a West Ham fan has posed all the possibilities you could put. You just wait till Sunday. Watch Klopp. Watch the game. It's going to be something you will never forget.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. Let's return one final thing with Morley, which I want to ask about Morley. You look at his goals, and we've said that 1 goal every 3 games. Okay. Now, Nige made the point that he didn't play in the top league for much of his career. A little bit at Man City, a little bit at West Ham, a bigger bit at West Ham. But I think we're all agreed that he was a great striker. He wouldn't be on this show. We wouldn't be talking about him if he wasn't. What makes a great striker? Look at Morley and look at the great strikers we've had. And we're looking at a guy, we had John Hartson here, who really only had 1 season for West Ham, but we picked him out as a top striker. Guy scored a lot of goals. His last season at West Ham was disappointing, but that season before, absolute magic. Now, Morley, we have this other thing about scoring goals in a good team, easier than scoring goals in a bad team. Morley's scoring goals in a, let's be honest, not one of the greatest. Okay, 2 promotions, not one of the greatest West Ham teams, and yet he still scored goals. Does that make him a better striker than someone who scores loads of goals in a good West Ham team? What do you think?
I don't know about making him a better striker than players that have scored in a good team. I get your point of view, because he came into a West Ham side that was being regenerated, let's say, from the Lyle era. One of the things Lyle failed to do was replace some of the older players quick enough and well enough. So he's come into that team. He's had, he's bought by one manager, and then, within 6 weeks, he got a different manager. Billy Bonds. Luckily, it was one that's been at the club, not someone that's come in. So it's a manager that's actually, Bill would have watched him for all the games that he's played anyway. So the fact that he hit the ground or he chipped in with the goals in our promotion season, which he'd miss a few games playing. As I said, I think he missed a month for that injury.
Yeah.
And so Bill obviously had kept faith in him. We didn't have a lot of money at the time either. The bond scheme was brought about because the club were being forced to redevelop Upton Park. Let's remember that. So there wasn't the money to spend on players. I'm not saying we cut the cloth accordingly, but he's replaced by Tony Cottee, who is a bona fide West Ham legend, and I think it possibly would have only took someone like that to replace him. The fact that he won Hammer of the Year, Martin, you've got a better guess than me. How many West Ham players have won Hammer of the Year in total? 35?
Not many. Couple of teams worth, maybe a bit more.
That's what I'm saying. When you think, how long's Hammer of the Year been going? 50, 60 years, bearing in mind the likes of Moore, Bonds, Julian Dix, Trevor Brooking, all won it multiple times. So when you look at the individual amount of players that have won Hammer of the Year, we're probably looking 30 to 40 at most. He's in that club. 1,000 players have probably played for West Ham. Trevor Morley's in that club. It's a special club to be in, and and quite rightly, he should be held in high esteem. Yeah, high esteem by, and the people that are younger than us and are looking at this and have never seen him play, but are just hearing the stories. This man was a loved player by the fan base, quite rightly so. And I think he's more known for his time at West Ham than any other club.
Although Reading speak very highly of him. He scored a lot of goals for them.
Well, every club does, though, and that's another mark, because Man City fans will tell you how great he was for them, even though he weren't there.
Season.
Northampton, I think it was the most successful Northampton Town team that they'd ever had. They got over 100 points, I believe, possibly.
You've made a point there, Nige. Think about it. Northampton promotion. Man City promotion, West Ham 2 promotions. This is a player who played in teams that went up. That's something that Morley's got. So this is some great comments coming in now from people who clearly saw him. But the other thing I liked about what I think was, I don't think Trevor Morley would have been as successful as he was at West Ham if it hadn't been for Billy Bonds, because Billy Bonds there's something about Moyes sometimes that reminds me about Bonds, is that he makes his mind up about a player and he doesn't let himself be put off. I don't know if you remember Kevin Keane, how he used to get booed, and he was a great player, Kevin Keane. I always thought he was. Mark Robson, a small player. Matty Holmes, these were players that you wouldn't, I think a lot of other managers would not have stuck with, but in their own way, and for the Peter Butler, there's a Bonds player. You've nailed it there. So I'm going to say that Bonds is a kind of manager, the last of a kind of manager. Maybe Moyes is a little bit like that, because Moyes has kept this. He's been lucky with injuries, of course, but Moyes has kept this side pretty much the same. And that's why they're so good, because they know each other so well. And you look at that 11, and in fact, you look at the 18 that make the 11. And every one of them, even the people who were the boring boo-boo boys who always pick out a player that they're going to have a go at. And you think about, Fornals. I was raving about Fornals all at the beginning of the season. Russ is going to remember this, when everyone's going, why are they playing him? What? And then you look at the stats. You look at this, and Moyes going, oh God, why are they playing him again? And then you say, well, did you see the assist? Have you seen the goal? You're just looking that he fell over and he missed that chance. Everything is like this tiny little tunnel vision thing. Right, we're moving towards the end of the program. This is the big one. This is the big one, Nige. We take a player, and now we've got a striker, and we all agree that Hurst scored whatever he got, 250 goals in 500 games, like one goal every other game. So Hurst gets 10. He is the striker that gets 10. So Hurst gets 10. Remember all the things we've said about playing in a team that aren't as good, blah, 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 getting West Ham up twice, the number of times he was goal scorer, the few times, the few numbers of people winning Hammer of the Year that he did. Thinking of all those things together, Hurst gets 10. You're allowed half marks. What are you going to give Morley?
I'm allowed half marks. I'll give him 7.5 then. I'll give him 7.5. Possibly. Actually, I'm being harsh. I will give him. Would I give him 8?
You saw him. You're
yeah,
not.
I saw. But virtually his whole time at the club. Never let us down. As I say, the fact that I remember the Player of the Year season, the first season up, we were expecting to probably go back down again, or definitely have a struggle. And to come in and get 16 or goals, 13 in the top flight. Yeah, he played his part in that team. His work rate, and how many goals did he set up?
Yeah, because he did set up goals too.
He had a great touch of the ball. He had a great pass on him to play people in behind the defence.
He wasn't selfish. He wasn't a selfish striker. Some say that's a fault, that strikers should be selfish. Tony Cottee always holds that the striker's not a striker if he isn't selfish.
I mean, the way I prefer to look at Rodriguez is he a legend or a hero? Yeah, and for me, for winning Hammer of the Year, as I say, he joins such a select band that I irk on the legend side rather than just the hero.
7.5 for us.
I was going to say 7.5 as well, so I can't believe you stole my thunder. But yeah, 7.5. 7.5.
I'm not going to disagree with either of you. I think 7.5 too, and 7.5. Remember, is a very, very good score when you see the other ones. What players have done, you're looking at over their whole career. So special marks for a special player, and
I mean that was quite a low point in West Ham's history. The period that he's come in and played and done it as well. So as I say, and when you look back at that team and you reel off the names, he's sort of undervalued by the fan base. Because you think back to that era, you go, oh, Ludo, you go Julian, you go Bishop, that's what people do, and actually his contribution was just as big as theirs.
Definitely,
he's playing in teams with them, continually getting in the team and scoring goals.
Yeah.
No, I agree totally. And you're right. It's one of those things where it doesn't get fallen through the cracks, but it's almost like, as you said, it's others take the headline, so to speak, isn't it? Yeah, and it's a shame because obviously he's
a quiet man. You never really see him interviewed, and and that's another thing for it. You never really see him interviewed.
But he is a pundit now on Norwegian telly.
Yes, he is. German told me. Yes, he is.
There's a great video he did on YouTube, if you look, where he went back to Upton Park in the last season and did his own farewell. It's about 5-10 minutes long, but he's gone with a camera crew and gone round Upton Park.
Does he speak the lingo, or is he?
No, it's in English. Well,
because if you're Norwegian or Danish or Swedish, they speak better English than we do.
Well, that's what German says. They when he's on punditry in Norwegian TV, he said right at the beginning of the show, in the chat, that they would ask him the questions in Norwegian and he'd respond in English.
So he understands them.
He understands it, but he's not not great talking.
I'm right and correct. His wife's Norwegian. I think that's why he was going out on loan at the time to Norway, that he would go back. It was family that was in Norway or something like that.
Do you think he likes those Scandinavian dramas? Like The Investigation, if you're watching it currently on BBC4, which is absolutely a fabulous. If you're looking for something to watch that. Just thought I'd throw that in. But there we go. We're talking. That's a Danish drama.
If you want to watch something in subtitles, watch Apache on Netflix, and it's the story of Carlos Tevez as a young boy before he became a footballer. It is outstanding.
Well, there we go.
If you think growing up in East End of London's tough, people, go and grow up in Buenos Aires.
But this is a man who was not frightened to throw himself into the crowd on the lower west.
If you watch that, perhaps you know why. Especially when the gunmen turn up and shoot his ass up when he's a little kid, and they just think shoulders. So, yes.
So that's everyone's Netflix recommendations from Nigel and
get everything on your show, Russ.
It's just another show. I'll just add it. We did cooking, might as well just do Netflix recommends, but it's all good. Nigel, thank you so much. Appreciate it at the last minute, and it was almost like you'd prepped. You'd done some very, very quick prep. I'm very impressed. Thank you.
It's all up here, son.
I know it's up here.
Very good.
Indeed. If anyone's in the Hornchurch, Basildon, Braintree area who wants pie mash, Oliver's Pie Mash.
Thank you very much.
It's a very good delivery driver turns up. But anyway, thank you.
Even better when I got Beigels, though, isn't it?
Oh,
you can get a vegetarian pie mash in Hox.
We do have what we call a vegetable pie.
Right.
And you can't call it vegetarian because of the pastry that's used.
Right.
Oh, because it's suet.
But this one has got vegetarian. I mean, it's Hoxton in it, for God's sake. But it is vegetarian pastry as well. So I don't know what.
Good luck. You won't catch me eating them. Let's put it like that.
I like a bit of gravy and a bit of vinegar on it, and you're happy.
Chili vinegar. It's got to be chili vinegar.
Chili vinegar, of course.
And prediction for Sunday, Nigel.
Prediction for Sunday, I'll go draw 1-1.
Oh.
That's exactly what I think. 1-1. 1-1,
Well.
unless something shocking happens.
Either way. Something shocking either way. 2-0. 2-0 West Ham.
Go for it, Russ. We hope you're right. We both hope you're right.
We'll do it. We'll do it anyway. But anyway, thank you.
We can't win in London twice in a week. That would be
that's what I mean. We got to win. We're 2-0.
I mean, this is a big game. Quickly, if we talk about it, because I know the thing to win every game in January.
Yeah.
Now, for me, if Moyes don't win, Manager of the Month already for the 6 wins, then it is a scandal, and it's a mockery of the Manager of the Month award. Yeah, but if he can do it and Bob winning all 7 games in January. Well, I mean, you got to take
games. Look at the games coming up. We could win them as well. We could be top in 4 games. City would have to lose a couple.
But, Martin, I can't cope with people like you. You're just too happy, mate.
Do you know what? He ain't usually, honestly, nice. He ain't usually.
In the eyes.
Literally, right, here we go. Behind the 4th wall, when we're at the London Stadium and the other team scores, and then our floor manager says, Martin, please say the goal with a little less like you're going to kill yourself. Goal for Crystal Palace. Or...
3rd goal. Liverpool scored by another.
But he doesn't matter because it's going to be all West Ham goals on Sunday, so it's all right. It's all good. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for your time, both of you. I'm going to just let you get out, and I'll say goodbye to everyone else. Thank you, Nigel, and thank you, Martin. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nigel and Martin. Oh dear, an hour and a half. Oh god. Anyway, so thank you for everyone for watching. Appreciate everyone's time. Loads of comments. Thank you so much. Keep the comments coming. Obviously, if you're new to the channel, do what little Russ says. Where's little Russ gone? He's disappeared. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Do what little Russ says. There he goes. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're around tomorrow lunchtime, We do live show on every lunchtime, Monday to Friday at 12:30. Feel free to jump on. We open up the chat so anyone can come on and chat like we've done with Martin and Nigel. The same thing happens tomorrow. So fun day Friday. So there we go. And please subscribe to the channel. We've got some My Hammers 11s. We'll have 2 Hammers, ex-Hammers over the weekend. I won't say who they are, but we've got one on Saturday and one on Sunday in terms of interviews. So loads of stuff coming on. But anyway, I hope everyone had a lovely evening. A lovely evening talking about Trevor Morley. Next Thursday, we'll be having our next game show night with Ryan Archer, with Gio, hopefully, with Ben Glander, and Bobby Seagull. Bobby Seagull, celebrity mastermind winner and university challenge winner. So make sure you stick around for that, and that's always for the Iron Supporting Food Banks. As always, appreciate everyone's time and effort and for coming in and some great comments. Thank you so much. Obviously, Robbie really enjoyed it. Martin, Theo, really appreciate everyone's time. And take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you again tomorrow lunchtime if you're around. If not, 3 points for the boys and some great My Hammers 11s interviews coming up this week. Take care, everyone. Much love. Bye bye.